Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we will be talking about an update to redundant sub-options, which will make your menu much more customizable, much easier for customer to use. So let's just dive right in. So first thing we're going to do is on our admin panel, we're going to go to menus. Once we do that, we will select our location and our menu. Now, from this point on, you will have to have an item that you want to modify. In this case, let's just go to our build your own rice bowl. So you have the same screen for for options and sub options. Now we'll see what's already added here. We have select base, select add-ins, and select add proteins. Now under the preview, there's a couple of things that change. There is this where it says how many of these things are required and up to how many can a customer select. Also, you can have pre-selected options now. So if we go to select base, you will see these two checkboxes right here. So you can see that the white rice is marked off while brown rice isn't. So if we click on white rice, you will see that there's a pre-selected button checkbox here. If we uncheck that, the bowl will not have a pre-selected base, so the customer can choose one or the other. But if we want to have a specific base selected, that's all we have to do. If you go to a little more in depth, for example, add protein, you will select it here, and you can see that we have this checked off, which says allow sub option quantities. Now what this means is you will set parameters for the customers to navigate through specific sub options, right? So if we don't select it, it's just gonna be as it was before, where you can have a minimum and a maximum, right? So you can have a minimum of 2 proteins selected, or you can have maximum of 5. Now, what sub-option quantities allow you, if we select it, you have aggregate quantities. Now, this is where you have to pay attention so the customers don't go out of hand with ordering crazy items that the restaurant can't make. So definitely pay attention to minimum and maximum aggregate. This is going to affect all options and sub-options, right? So under this specific dish, right? So if, for example, we're building our bowl, there will obviously be a lot of ingredients that go in there. So we will set our max aggregate to 36. Now we can limit each sub-option to a minimum quantity and maximum quantity, right? So if somebody wants to add extra protein, we can say that the minimum is 2. And we can say that the quantity increment of that protein goes by 2. So this can mean anything, right? So by default, you will probably want to set it as 1 because there could be 1 serving of beef, 1 serving of chicken, 1 hot dog, 1 beef patty, and so on and so forth. So you get that. If you do want to change the quantities and the increments, you can do that. And then the max sub option is going to determine how many of that specific sub option we can add. So the max sub option can say, we can add beef 8 times, right? So to explain it a little better, we're going to move away from this and we're going to jump into a menu that actually has these things in it. So you can see the customer side of things. So if we go and build our own rice bowl, you can see that the white rice is already pre-selected, so the customers don't have to select it. If they do want to change it to brown rice, they can do that. Now we do have this crazy option that's called how many grains of rice would you like? And this is just to show you how versatile these redundant sub options can be. And we can literally put in increments of 20, we can say I want 60 grains of rice. Obviously, we're not going to do that, but this gives you an idea of how you can implement, for example, bread rolls, right? You can set it to an increment of 6, and they can order half dozen, a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen, whatever it is. You can always change that, and you can say that is it required or not, right? So in this case, let's just say it is required, and we will put a certain amount of grains in. Then from that, we move on from that section to add-ins, right? So in add-ins, if you remember here, we say that we have a maximum aggregate of 6, and quantity increments will be by 1. So what this means, it also tells us that we can select at most 2 of the sub option. So if I try to add more than 2 jalapenos, I can't do that. You can't see it, but I'm clicking on this plus right here. And this is where you can modify it however you want. So a customer could add 1 of each, but if they try to add any more than that, that's not going to work. So if they want to do 2 servings of edamame and 2 servings of sesame seeds and 2 servings of mango, they will not be able to add anything else besides that. Now, from that point, we move into proteins. So this is where it says that they have to choose 2 and they can choose up to 5. So this will move into in increments of 2 right now. And we can say that we want to do chicken, and we can go ahead and check out, right? Or we can say, I want these, right? And specific, obviously, specific meats and options can have different add-ons into that. So you can still do granular sub options, but this makes it easier for the customers to quickly check out so they don't have to go through a drop down every single time. As you can see here if we add steak, we'll be able to choose a sauce for that, and it says we have to choose 1 up to 6, so it's pretty self-explanatory. And then you can just keep adding options. Now, if we remove this, we can see that there is an option to add a lot more now, because I did allow it, right? So you could just keep going and, adding. And you can set prices for these. As you can see, the price on the bottom will change. And we can go here and we can just keep adding on, and the price will change as we add more proteins in. Everything else at the end is still the same. They still have the option to leave special instructions to say who this item is for. But this will give you a much easier build your own burger, for example, build your own rice bowl, build your salad. You can even do platters. If you sell charcuteries, you can give them an option. How much cheese would you like, right? And they can select which cheeses, how many pounds or ounces they want of that specific cheese. So this is where you can just experiment and see what works for that specific restaurant that you're working with, and it can definitely boost sales because it is so easy to navigate. And the customers are much more likely to add specific stuff in if it's so easy for them. So I hope you like this update, and we will see you next time. Have a great day.